topic, and we're going to be talking about Madame Cecilia Dapaah, the former sanitation minister who was caught in some allegations concerning corruption-related issues, and money laundering. Now, remember that back in July 2023, she resigned after some reports were made from herself and her husband that her house helps had stolen some amount of money. Eventually, there was some money that was found in her house amounting to about 1 million Ghana cedis and more. In fact, she accused them of stealing $1 million, 300,000 euros and millions of cedis in her home between July and August 2022. So the OSP got involved in this, and they seized about $600,000 and 300 million Ghana cedis. They froze her account. Eventually, they had to unfreeze it. But within 7 months of investigation, the OSP announced that it could not trace corruption, but could tell that there were some cases of money laundering. As a result, they decided to pass it on to EOCO, the institution that's mandated to investigate issues concerning money laundering. Now, when EOCO also received the dockets, they went to the Attorney General for advice on this matter, where the Attorney General told them that, well, looking at the situation, first of all, the OSP had closed the case because they said they could not even trace any issues concerning corruption or corruption-related offenses. And so there was no need for EOCO to proceed. Now, Mami Tiwa, who is the head of EOCO, has been speaking on this matter. In fact, she's not the only one who has spoken, because CDD Ghana is not too happy about the decision that has been made by the Attorney General, and so they have also been speaking on this matter. Let's hear from Mami Tiwa on what she said about why there was a need to return the docket to the OSP and not commence investigations at all. And then we'll hear from a senior member of this nation who thought that Ghanaians were being hypocritical even about the whole Madame Cecilia Dapaah case. Take a look.
The docket was referred to us. You mean Madame Cecilia Dapaah's case? The docket was referred to us because, in the opinion of the special prosecutor, it borders on money laundering. We requested for the basis of the SP coming out with that conclusion that enabled him to say that we should continue. We requested for that. We didn't get, maybe as at now, we haven't received any response. And we sat down to review the whole docket. At the end of the day, we realized that we couldn't find our way clearer. Most of the time, when you finish your docket, you can send it to Attorney General's office for advice. But this is not something that we send for advice, because we couldn't even find our way. We didn't see our way clearer. So we wanted the Attorney General to look at what we've done and direct as to the way forward. Remember, before the docket was referred to us, the source of the money had already been referred to the Criminal Investigation Department. The Attorney General had directed the CID to look at the source of the money. So, having reviewed the document that we received from ASP, we didn't see any offense, predicate offense, from which we'll proceed our investigation on. So we requested direction from the Office of the Attorney General. We need evidence to prove criminal offense. It's not about people saying it. Saying that somebody is corrupt, there's so much corruption, that one doesn't solve any problem. Whatever that we would have done had already been directed at the CID to do. We cannot continue to be doing fishing. It's like we don't even know what you are looking for. You just go about looking for something that you yourself, you are not even sure. So what I'm going to do is that with the AG's advice, I will send the docket that we received from the OSP to him, that there's nothing for us to do.
You must also be careful what you do, because you can be charged for defamation. Be careful, because the question is that if you come and you find money with me, do I owe any duty to you to explain us whose money? When nobody complained that I have stolen his money.
Over $1 million.
What difference does it make?
Foreign currency.
How many Ghanaians? Look, you Ghanaians are not honest people. The number of people here, when you go, you see all these huge buildings that they are building. Nobody, who asked them as to where they got the money from, when they started it, when was it completed? Nobody does. So you just pick on just one individual. You want to make it as if she was just an extraordinary rogue who has stolen money, when you don't even have any. If you have evidence that she stole money, please make the complaint.
But the arguments they are making is that even if you don't have evidence, circumstantial evidence enough, why you have these huge sums of money?
Do the law convict people on circumstantial evidence?
So you're saying Ghanaians are just...
When you go to the criminal court, you must establish
So that is lawyer Sam Okujeto. He is a member of the Council of State, and he says that at this point, Ghanaians are being hypocritical because we've not gone to question all those people who are putting up these high-rise buildings. Where are they getting this money from? And yet we're focusing on Madam Cecilia Dapaah. In fact, EOCO as well yesterday released a statement where they were, stating exactly that they do not. They stand by their word that, yes, they are not going to commence the investigation. That's because they asked for further particulars, further details from the OSP. They did not make this available. And so that is why they decided to ask for advice from the Attorney General and are not going to commence any investigations on the matter. Them send a note shortly. From CDD Ghana, the OSP, Attorney General, CDD Ghana. At the end of the day, we all want to establish how those monies came into her possession. Don't you think that with all the back and forth, it's as if we're losing sight of the main issue and fighting amongst ourselves as institutions?
Bella, it's sad, especially with the OSP. The way the issues are being handled is very sad, the back and forth. And when you look at the inconsistencies of sometimes the OSP, at one point they said they've given some information to Ioko. Ioko will come back to say that we did not receive that information and all that. I think that, when they do that, they open up themselves for state institutions to be criticized too much. If OSP have cleared the woman that there's no corruption or corruption-related issues about the money, the issues about the money.
OSP says they did not clear the woman.
Come on, but his statement, what did the statement say?
They said they did not clear the woman.
What did the statement say? They said that they did not find any issues of corruption or corruption-related issues with her. That's why they gave her back her money. And so, if you are sending the docket back to EOCO, I learned there was a report from FBI. And so, EOCO said they requested for that report. I think that per that report, they could establish that whether, or they could go ahead with the investigations, whether there were the issues of money laundering or not. But you did not give them that letter or that information. But I heard their corporate director, corporate strategy or something.
Strategy research, director of strategy research and communications.
Sami Daku saying that on Newsfile that they've given every information, they've not received anything from EOCO. At one point, they've received. EOCO too are saying that they're giving names of people who received the letters and all that. So I think that the funny aspect is that all these institutions work under one ministry. And so I think that at this point, the minister needs to put his foot on the ground. Let the two of those institutions sit down, whatever they need to do. Which
minister? The Minister of Justice?
Exactly.
The same one that has advised the EOCO not to proceed with the investigation?
It is because the Office of the Special Prosecutor had not released that FBI report to EOCO.
But they said, in fact, and let me quote what Sami Daku said. We want to make it very clear that EOCO did not request for the FBI report.
And EOCO
even if they did request, the FBI report has a lot of confidentiality clauses that were directed particularly to the OSP, and you cannot just give it to another agency because you have transferred the case. There ought to be a lot of inter-agency collaboration and clearance. So if it had happened, we may have triggered the clearance clauses so that either we are cleared by FBI or FBI sends the report directly to EOCO.
It happened because EOCO are saying that it happened. In fact, they have shown proof of the letters they wrote to OSP and whoever received the letter from EOCO at the OSP's office. And so at this point, I think that, for me, in my view, I think that the minister needs to sit with them so that this issue be resolved once and for all, because the back and forth are becoming too many. Because every Ghanaian wants this issue to be resolved so that whether we know whether the money were money laundering, whether it was through corruption. For that, it's been established that it was not through any corrupt activity from the ministry. And so I will plead on the minister to set the two institutions, there's two heads down. If
the minister has made up his mind, so you plead with the minister to sit with them.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
He's already made up his mind on the matter.
No.
He was emphatic about it, that there's no need to go further into investigating
probably he did not know that there's this FBI report. Let's play the devil's advocate. I don't know. Because if EOCO had written for this report, for the basis of at which they can start that money laundering investigation, I think that the OSP ought to have released it to EOCO.
The minister was aware that there was an FBI
good.
Report.
So if EOCO, if OSP, this thing is there, and you believe that once they get that, they can go ahead with the investigation, and you've decided to keep the thing to your chest, what do you expect them to do?
Malik, what do you make of this in particular? I mean, EOCO is saying that yes, and in fact, they have stated in their statement yesterday that EOCO's letter of 1st February 2024 was received at the front desk of the Office of the Special Prosecutor by a Field Desk Officer 2, Solomon Tete, who duly signed for the letter at 9:52 a.m. on 2nd February 2024. The Deputy Executive Director of EOCO, Bashiru Dapaah, followed up to the OSP and discussed with Mr. Emmanuel Basintali. I was wondering if maybe he's a family member of yours or not. The Director of Investigations of the OSP, the possibility of expediting the release of the report. This discussion was done in the presence of the Deputy Special Prosecutor, Ms. Cynthia Lamte, and Mr. Basintali sure that as soon as he received clearance from the SP,
EOCO appears very confused. As of 2 days ago, said they were preparing to return the docket. Now they released a letter stating the docket had been returned as far back as 3rd May. You grant a press conference stating you are preparing to return the docket. And in your release letter, you say you had released it on the 3rd. So we should be asking Tiwa which side of her mouth's word we should take. Because these are two things from one person. Now, I knew nothing substantial will come out of this investigation.
How did you?
The very first day I read Madam Cecilia Dapaah's letter, and I saw my dear Mr. President. Then I read Mr. Akufo-Addo's acceptance, and I saw my dear Cecilia Dapaah. Then I knew that Mr. Akufo-Addo, the clearing agent's name has been mentioned. Cecilia Dapaah's name has been mentioned. Nothing will come out of this investigation. But you see, Bella, no matter how long it takes, as for Cecilia Dapaah, she will get into the witness box for Ghanaians to listen to her side of the story.
You are being a hypocrite.
I am saying this.
Lawyer Sam.
I would explain some. I would correct you. He's a senior man. I want to be very calm with my response to him. You see, with all greatest respect to senior counsel Okujato, you don't only investigate monies when stolen monies have been reported. No. There's a reason why we have the Anti-Money Laundering Act 2020. And there's a reason why under Section 3 of that act, it states that you can investigate someone if his revenue does not tally with his assets. And so, with the greatest of respect to him, I'm sure he will go back. I'm sure if we were given another opportunity, he will make that statement again. But you see, let me delve into this matter. It's important that we understand that you cannot be a minister, one, and not declare your assets. I know that many people are liable. Even my brother Kingsley is liable, and he will be standing trial to that. You must declare your assets per the laws of this country before you assume public office.
I'm hoping that per the last time he has gone to declare his assets.
Then he has to refund the salaries he has taken all this while, because you were supposed to declare before assumption of office. If you don't, it's illegal and you'll be standing trial. You see, you must declare your assets. Once you declare your assets, at every given point in time, if the Money Laundering Act is triggered, we'll be able to juxtapose your assets to your income. If you fail to do so, you will be cited for money laundering. So the investigation into this Cecilia Dapaah's matter, and let me correct him, the OSP never said he had ended investigations into this matter. I beg you, my brother. The OSP said it had put on hold investigations pending the findings of EOCO, because he is in charge of investigating corruption and corruption-related matters. EOCO is supposed to investigate money laundering. If they establish a money laundering, fraud, or a money laundering clause, or a money laundering breach in Cecilia Dapaah's case, then it comes back to the OSP to now question her as to where she got all those monies from, because her income will not tally with her assets. As simple as that. Look, Bella, you know who a minister is. This is not the first time we've had ministers in this country. This is not the first time we've known the salaries of ministers. In fact, the salaries of ministers are public. If you are a minister, and you can have about $590,000 in your room, you can have 2.7 million Ghana cedi in your room. You can have them steal 1 million Ghana cedi, and for 6 months, you will not know. You can have your bags to a tune of $35,000. You can have your perfumes and your husband's suits to a tune of $32,000. You know what $32,000 is? Multiply that by 14 and ask yourself how many years you work as a journalist to be able to raise that. And then somebody hides those monies under her bed. The last time I cited an example of a nurse who takes 3,000 Ghana cedi. You have to work for 100 good years before you can get $1 million that they stole from Cecilia Dapaah's room. And a minister for 8 years has all these kinds of monies under her bed, her wardrobe, her cabinet, to the extent that they steal psalms to a tune of 16 million, and the minister never detected it. It should tell you the sums of monies she had in her room. And you come to tell me that OSP has done what, and there's nothing, there's no corruption, and they said they didn't find corruption. How did she come by those monies? That is why the clause states that before you assume office, and the Constitution has been very clear on it, that before you assume public office, you must declare your assets. But you see, I'm not surprised, because I know the man who is supposed to trigger these investigations. We know who Mr. Akufo-Addo is. He is president, and he wrote in this letter. Let me read his acceptance letter, portions of it. He says, I know that you will be vindicated. Listen to him. Somebody who is here to stand trial. The clearing agent says, I know you will be vindicated, and I know you will bounce back stronger. I read this and I said, you see, Mr. Akufo-Addo never changes. But he will never ensure a strict investigation to this matter, because he himself has been complicit in many corrupt exposés. He himself has been caught first time taking brown envelope with 2 hands. He himself, Alistair Matthias, to the extent that we found our president in somebody's pocket as a result of corruption. How can same man instill investigation into this particular matter? But in all of this, I'll land on this, in all of this, public officers who have not declared their assets, of which Kingsley is complicit, on 7th January 2025, he will be in the witness box.
Okay.
People who have to tell us how they came by their income.
All right.
People who have to tell us why they failed to declare their assets. And Cecilia Dapaah, together with other corrupt appointees,
as you're doing this and saying this, I hope that if the NDC should come to power, even before you initiate all these investigations, every single member of the government would also declare their assets even before, so that it doesn't become... So let me bring Bernard in. No, I just wanted to say that so that we can establish that.
So that is why it's important that you support us arrest people like Kingsley and the rest, so that other people will also learn a lesson and declare their assets. If you look at the legal framework of anti-money laundering in Ghana, when it comes to legislation, EOCO is in there. They are supposed to be the body that is, among other bodies, that legislates and regulates issues concerning anti-money laundering in this country. Did they need to go to the Attorney General to seek advice, especially when it has been declared clearly in the law that if for some reason one person cannot explain where they are getting their wealth from, then there should be concerns about money laundering and investigations should take place?
Let me tell Alhaji Ibrahim that I'm not sleeping. Rather, I'm feeling so sad. I'm feeling so sad and broken about the Ghana that we are proud of. That we have elder statesmen that are supposed to be pots of honesty. They should serve as a mark of integrity. And Okwejeto Sam Oku, within the legal profession, is one of the top legal personalities in this country. To be blinded heavily by his partisanship and his love for the New Patriotic Party, to the extent that he opens his mouth and you feel like vomiting, it's so sad, so sad. Okwejeto says that why? There are many high-rise buildings that are going on, and no one cares to ask the source of money of those people. And because of that, why are you concentrating on Cecilia Dapaah? This man is not qualified to be a statesman. Because a statesman, in any right sense, will say that, look, go and investigate the source of monies that are leading to the kind of buildings that we are seeing in this country. But to say that why? Because we have not done so, others cannot be investigated. I'm sorry, sir. You are not qualified to be a statesman. You cannot serve as somebody that the state should expend on you. Because your understanding of what it takes to bring about the rot in our society to correct. So anybody can just get up, make money. So much money is found under your bed. In fact, the monies that we are talking about are monies that Cecilia Dapaah herself catalogued as monies that are missing. This is in the charge sheet of the police. So it is what Cecilia Dapaah told the police, that these ones cannot be found. What can be found, we don't even know. So actually what we are talking about is what was taken away. What was not taken away, we don't know. And then you are happy to say that we are ignore. Don't talk about Cecilia Dapaah. We are hypocrisy if we talk about Cecilia Dapaah. You are a hypocrite, sir. Nothing qualifies you better than the biggest hypocrite that we can find in our society in recent times.
You're calling lawyer Samuel?
Oh, yes, he's the biggest hypocrite. Nothing qualifies him better than that. So, I am broken to have listened to him yesterday and see the attempted anger he wanted to speak about. MPP, so what? Your partisanship, so what? So this nation must collapse because of your partisanship. And you see, all these theatricals that are being performed by institutions, and I don't know which of the institutions, because the OSP office was created by Akufo-Addo. Tiwa was appointed by Akufo-Addo. And appointees are now selecting to support one side of government-owned appointees. This is scandalous. You know, Mr. President has demonstrated clearly that when it comes to issues of corruption about his government, everybody must be freed. That is how come that even when the laws of Ghana requires that to establish a business, you must first register the business with the Registrar General, not so. And in particular, to do a government business, to get a government contract, you must have at least a registration, you must have a business profile, you must have obtained a tax clearance, SNIS clearance, and labor clearance, not so. You have moving pina. The company got a government contract, actually finished selling off the 5 million contaminated oil before it now went to go and register at the Registrar General. Mr. President cleared the man who was at that place and actually enabled the person to go and contest, and is an MP now formulating laws. What kind of laws will such a character formulate for us? This is what we are having today. And so when you have Madam Cecilia Dapaah, her case come up, and Mr. President writes to say that you've been vindicated. And then the institutions are vindicating Madam Cecilia Dapaah. You can understand why the office of the special prosecutor is so worried. Now look, the mandate that you have given them, you are actually stepping their mandate. And I think that, look, if EOCO can investigate people to find out where you got your monies from, how come that in this instance, when the special prosecutor is saying that, look, we have traced the source of her money, we suspect money laundering. And EOCO is not interested in money laundering, then all of us will engage in money laundering.
They said they don't even know what exactly to investigate because...
No, as for my dear sister, anyway, I looked at her this morning. I think she's looking very beautiful. But as for her, did you listen to her statement on the SIF? She said that they are now preparing to return the docket to EOCO. And yesterday was the 7th. Now she does a press statement, and in that statement she said that the docket was returned to the office of the special prosecutor on the 3rd. Which one do we now take? It is the same person that is speaking. That we are preparing, she spoke on the 6th, we are preparing to return the docket. Yesterday, when she now sat down to write, she said they returned the docket on the 3rd. So where do you go?
Well, Rock Ameuga says, respectfully, can't EOCO itself do its investigations before coming out with anything at all? This country is in a mess, and we need to rescue it, inshallah. Agongo Roger says, Bernard,
but for a corruption.
I like your boldness.
But for correction, I am told that Legon registration started at 11, not 7.
Not 7?
Yes.
Not 7.
Okay. The senior people in our country don't speak the truth. Andre Holm. Okay. Thank you very much. They are all guilty. So who will arrest who? That's Imelda Nasir. Coco, please give me a minute to just read 1 or 2 WhatsApp messages and then we can go. Elias Wagwe writes that in response to Akufo-Addo's recent statements alleging that His Excellency John... Okay, I'll skip that one and just go. Bella, if the man claiming to be speaking on behalf of the NPP works with the Museums and Monuments Board, tell him it's past 8 a.m. and he must be in the office. Also, if he's a civil servant, tell him he's breaching the code of conduct of the civil service that prohibits civil servants from doing partisan politics. Musa Nima also says the NPP is very happy about the ongoing registration mess because they believe the EC is implementing their agenda. But our assurance to them, both EC and NPP, that whether they like it or not, JM will win the 2024 elections. Well, we can all wait and see how the elections will go later on. But for now, I urge, yes, they say you should go to the office. I urge every first-time voter to visit any of the district offices or the 25 university campuses, which is close to you, or the 785 other centers where you can register and make sure that your name is taken and registered ahead of the 2024 general elections. We have more coming up. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining me. Malik Basintal is the Deputy Communications Director for the NDC. Mr. Bernard Mona, former chairman for the PNC, says he hopes to become the flag bearer for the party. And Kingsley Ofosun Tiamwam, CEO, Museums and Monuments Board. Oh, you are becoming the next president. So 2024.
I don't know why you keep talking
next
about
president. So December 7, he's going to be the president. We see. We'll be back with more. This is TV3 New Day. Don't go anywhere.